Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Club Pro Chatter Season 7. This is episode 4. Scott McDonald, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Having separation anxiety from you two.
Did your wife leave you?
There was questions if this would ever happen again. They thought that the door was closed.
All right. Kaylee Ekstrom. Kaylee, good morning. How you doing this fine day?
Good, thank you.
Good, good. It's good to see your two smiling faces. Scott and I did want to start off with a sincere apology. First of all, I was sorry for these. I found these in the drawer over here. I forgot my glasses at home, so I found these in the drawer. If you can see, they're not real masculine. It might be hard.
They look like your librarian's glasses.
Librarian specs, but I literally am getting to the point where I cannot see, Scott. So I have to have them. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I apologize for that. But Scotty, we got a bigger apology. We're bordering on over 2 months. Actually, it's getting closer to 3 months since we've been together. You've been extremely busy. I pretend to be busy. And I want to apologize to all of our fans. I was asked by multiple people, when's your next podcast? Come on, we need to get this going. You know who you are, especially the Brainerd crew. Kelly Johnson, our favorite. They've been kind of all over us. So I want to apologize for that. Scott, do you have anything to say for yourself and your lack of appearances here?
No, I think we did a poor job scheduling. Kaylee's probably busier than you and I. So the three of us getting together, we just need to put it on the calendar. And all I can say is hopefully we get this out before the section champ so people will have something to listen to on the old ride to Braemar.
Scott, we won a couple years ago. We did a section championship preview, and I'm sad that we haven't done that again.
Oh, gosh. How fun was that?
That was one of the most fun episodes we've been a part of. And I'm sad that we haven't made this happen, but we need to, again, get that on the calendar for future years. Another trip around the calendar, and here we are, Scott. That was 2 years ago, and they seem to go quick. 50 is sneaking up on me fast, and what, 45 is sneaking up on you?
Come on, Greg. 43.
Okay.
Jeez. Cut me a little slack.
I forget how young you are. Kaylee, you got lots of turns around the sun still to go, but some of us don't have very many, and so we need to do these things, Scott. I think people enjoyed it. We could kind of display the golf course a little bit. And the one thing about Braemar, I know I'm jumping ahead on some things, but very hard to get on, Scott. Danny Poche, your buddy, used to be the superintendent at Olivia Golf Club. I was chatting with him. When did you play with him?
In the Braemar Pro-Am first Friday in August.
You played with him another time when I was there. Was it at Geneva?
Yes.
Okay, so Geneva, I'm chatting with him, and I said, Danny, are you getting out much? And he works really close to Braemar. And he goes, Greg, I can't get on. The place is so busy. And I think that's the state of, I don't want to just say public golf, anything in the metro area, because I know our sister courses are the same way. He says after work, it's just not even possible. That's even as a twosome, him and his coworker. So Braemar, it might be difficult for us to get out there and do that because they might be too busy to do our little dog and pony show there.
Yeah, we'd have to go real early or real late.
Yeah, let's start at 7 p.m. Kaylee will be happy with that.
Yeah, we'll just cruise through. Well, I think the last match we played was over after 14 holes.
It was after 2 holes when I was in the fescue on the left. Anyways, it's too late for Braemar this year, but hey, do you know, looking ahead, Mr. Prognosticator, where next year's section championship is? Or is that why?
I do. You know, I pride myself on knowing these sort of things.
I do. You seem to always know, and I haven't looked that far ahead. So do you want to share where we are going to make this happen? We're putting it on right now. August, Club Pro Chatter, Season 7, Episode 4. I'm going to write it down that we're going to do this next year. Where are we going?
Well, it's going to be for you about a 4-hour drive north and to the west. Or almost straight north for you.
Back to Bemidji?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
I love that place. I'm writing it down.
It's one of my favorite venues that we've had. I love it. Everybody's got to go up there. It's fair. It's got movement. You can make birdies. I love it.
Jack and I did a practice round up there a bunch of years ago before it, so we can make this happen. Mitch McInance will take good care of us. Rick Grand, still the golf pro.
I believe so.
All right, it's going to be great up there. I love it. Okay, Scott, let's turn the attention over to Kaylee here for our state of the section. We got lots of tournament golf to get to, but Kaylee, why don't you tell us what's going on in the Minnesota section right now?
Yeah, I think looking ahead next week, we'll be at Braemar for the section champ. And then we get into September with some fun things going on. So the Bad Pants Open is going to be back at Rush Creek. And then exciting for the Minnesota section this year is we are hosting the regional drive, chip, and putt qualifier. And so that'll be at Hazeltine later this year as well. And the junior golf season just ended. So huge shout out and thank you to everybody who hosted this year. We couldn't do it without you. And, we're cruising here at the section office.
Cruising into the silly season that we call it, but there's still plenty of stuff going on. I know Tone isn't going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not. So do we have the dates for that regional at Hazeltine?
Yes.
September 22nd.
Yep. We'll be
It's
there.
my wife's birthday, so I can't forget that.
Oh, Scott and Charlie tried to qualify, right? Did the girls?
The girls did. They didn't get through the local. Charlie made it to Braemar on Sunday. We hit a little bit of a snafu on the chip. His father was a bad caddy, and he putted great. But yeah, so he didn't make it. But hey, shout out to Phil Anderson, whose daughter is going to be at Hazeltine competing in the 7 to 9 age group, which has got to be pretty cool for Phil.
Seriously, home track
Yes.
too? Ooh.
Yes.
I want to revisit this bad caddy. And what did you try to talk him into drop kicking the chip or what? I mean,
No, here's the
back
deal.
like Dad does.
Here's
sure
the
you
deal.
lean back a little bit.
Catherine Wagner has had this chip as a bump and run for the last couple of years. So Charlie's really good chipping with his hybrid. So we practice that, and I mean, he's locked in. We get there, and the chip is in nice, thick, lush rough, which we had not really worked on. So it was a bit of a strategic.
You over scouted.
I over scouted. I did.
Oh, hey, I want to give props to Catherine Wagner for that. I'm sorry, Scott, that you were, but that is awesome, right? When a team does all the focus here, and all of a sudden you get there and you're like, oh, but what a great story to tell your son, right? Moving on of, hey, this was my bad. This was your coach's fault. We should have prepped for everything, not knowing what we were getting.
Well, and now it's like, now we know what we got to work on. Clearly, we got to work on chips out of the thick rough. So
what do they get, Scott? 3 attempts?
They get 3 chips, 3 drives, 3 putts, and the putts are 6 feet, 15, 30 feet.
Oh, so it's only 1 putt from each distance?
Yes.
But the chips are 3 chips from the same spot, right?
Yes.
And do they just take just your closest?
Nope. Each is get points. Max of 25 points on every single shot. Drive, 3 drives, so max of 225 points.
Every shot matters.
Yeah.
Oh, so you flub a chip, it's just 0 points.
Yeah. And pretty much at this stage, if you flub a chip,
you're out. So
yeah. But it's such a cool event. I saw Andy Bang there with his son. Him and Charlie were in the same group. So it's just fun to see the kids. And what's great, 9 shots, probably done in about 9 minutes, Greg. It's over. It's harmless.
Yeah, it's quick. I actually had a friend from Wilmer take his son all the way to Colorado, and they mentioned how quick it was for a regional.
Oh,
and
yeah.
again, not that they were complaining, not that they're just like, it's over. And I'm like, welcome to life.
Yeah.
I mean, look at us. All of a sudden, it's just over. I mean, I hosted a pro-am here, and it was like pulling my hair out, trying to get everything done and running around like JoJo. Done.
Yeah.
It's over. And I was like, oh, all right, that was it.
Yeah.
It's the end. Kaylee, do you feel that way with all the stuff you guys are putting on? You're like, we put in all this work and it's already over?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, especially when we're setting up golf courses so often for, I call it our little circus trailer with all the things that we pull out and put out and then put away. I mean, like yesterday we cleaned up the senior pro champ and tomorrow we're taking it all back out to go set up pro champ. So it just is always moving.
Oh, it's just a rigmarole. Kaylee, we talked a little bit about something that's happening later. Which I'm sure, because we're not going to do this again. When we're done today, we're gonna schedule our next podcast. But October 28th, big day for somebody on our panel here.
For
Tell us
sure.
what's happening that day.
Yeah, so save the date. That will be the day of the fall meeting. So the Minnesota PGA section meeting. We're going to be at Hazeltine as Phil will be our president going out. Somebody else on the panel can speak to what's happening next for him.
Oh, nothing's guaranteed. Somebody could run from the floor. I mean, the fact that I can't,
I actually plan on running from the floor.
The fact that I can't help schedule a podcast within 2.5 months is enough platform for somebody to run against me. Let's be honest. So nothing's ever guaranteed. You just ask Jim Manthis.
I feel like maybe we're in a different era, Scott. Again, you're right. It's not guaranteed. There's protocol that we have to go through. Robert's Rules of Order is important to us. We try to do things right. And so somebody could come in and say that clown should never be the president. But I can tell you, as one of your good friends, not that I'm with you every day, but I know how much effort and work you put into the section. VP does a lot with the finances. Working hand in hand with John and with JD and things that people just would never, I wouldn't say never understand, but wouldn't realize the magnitude of it unless you're into it. And that's the thing about running for these positions. I don't want to scare anybody off, but if that's a direction you go, you have to be ready to put the time and energy in. And you and I could sit here and speak about Phil for hours on what he's doing and all the work that he's putting in and trying to run Hazeltine Golf Club as the GM. Did I say trying?
No, he is excelling in that role. But
all of his roles, he's a super overachiever.
Yes, he's
annoying.
You know what he is? He's one of those freak jugglers that can literally juggle 5 things at once. That's Phil walking down the street. That's him. I mean, we all got to wear a lot of hats, but at some point, a certain area, if it's golf, and kudos to Phil. I didn't think there's any way he's going to sign up for the section championship. He's playing next week. He might not get it airborne, but I'm super proud of him for signing up to play.
Did you ask him how many rounds he's played this year?
Oh, I saw him at the USAM, and I figured there's quite a bit of dust on those clubs.
Phil strikes me as a guy that he'll walk in with 2 rounds under his belt this year.
And you know what? Don't put it past him to shoot some decent scores because he hasn't played. No expectations. Just go out there and actually, I mean, it's going to be a release.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's backtrack, Scotty. I don't know how far back we want to go, but why don't you take us through? I think we did not even talk about our tape mark winners because the last podcast was way before. I hate to call it that. The Minnesota PGA Foundation Pro-Am. I know we're still working on ourselves saying it properly and saying the right names. But Scotty, you play in that every year.
Yep.
Why don't you talk about our winner, Mr. Little Israelson, there a little bit and tell us what happened?
Yeah, I mean, we have so many apologies, Greg. I mean, do we just start writing these down?
I got my show notes, Scotty. You know, I write a lot of stuff.
So yeah, Andrew ended up winning it and closed it out. Had a terrible front 9, which he played the back first shot 2 over, bogeyed 18, and was kind of out of it. And then just got it going on the front. I think he must have holed out on 3, that par 4 up the hill for eagle to a back right pin. Birdied 4, birdied 7, birdied 8. Michael Schmitz made the turn, and he was 12 under at the turn. Andrew must have been, he went 5
5 under on the
He was
back.
5 under. He was 7 down when Schmitz made the turn. And
Oh,
then
I'm looking at Schmitz's back 9 right now. Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. So Michael shoots 40, Andrew shoots 31. Andrew wins by 2. And I think tied his father. I think they each got, Bill might have 2. But yeah, Andrew, I mean, this is just one of a ton of great performances this summer. He's had a great summer playing in section events, and yeah, so 10 under, awesome for him. Yeah, Michael Schmidt second and 8, and then Ross Miller third, Grant Shafransky, who's had a great summer as well, and Scotty Cole at 4 under. That was the top 5. And then on the team side, I think it was our buddy Bennett Smead's team ended up winning at 39 under, which, you know what? I'm going to say it. The one nice thing about us taking over this event, used to winning this event, Greg, 3 rounds, 2 of 4, 56 under, 39 under won it.
Okay, so we've done a better job of clamping down on some handicaps is what you're kind of
and look at how tight it is. 39, 38, 37, 37.
Also
35.
something you want to see, right? Where you want to see the congested field and right down to the last few minutes. And yeah, I think that's always great to see when we don't want to see runaways for sure.
No. So it was, hey, tape mark, you're always concerned. Weather was great. Golf course was awesome. I thought Southview it's always really good for the tape mark. It maybe was the best I've seen it.
Scotty, let's move forward to the state open. This was
Yep.
contested on July 8th through the 10th. Also an event you play in. It was at Rush Creek. Last time it was at Rush Creek. A local legend for us around here, Brady Madsen, won the event. I actually went out and watched him. We were scheduled to do a podcast that day, and my dad was really, do you remember this? My dad was really sick, and we had to kind of skip it so that I could get to the hospital to see him. I think you had played earlier, and it kind of just worked out. So I had a little time. I had went out and watched Brady. Brady had a pretty good showing this year, but didn't have enough to catch up to 3 guys tying at 10 under and then a playoff. Did you stay for the playoff?
Well, I didn't stay for the 3rd day because I missed the cut, Greg.
Oh, you weren't around. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
you never miss cuts. I didn't even know that.
So, fun story about Brady. Him and I were in the same wave round 1, round 2, and round 1 I saw him and he's like, yeah, I played all right. Round 2 I see him after 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Walk back up 16. Walk back up 17's that dog leg left. I go, how's it going? He goes, well, I just went birdie hole in 1 the last 2 holes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes. Brady's such a good dude. He's a great kid. So still, hey, nothing to sneeze at. I mean, he was top 10. Nice little check.
Had his B game. I mean,
Yes.
again, I can say that we know him very well. He had his B game for a few times this summer. Even at my pro-am here, might have had his C game here. But yeah, so it's still, you're right, not a bad showing. But we had kind of another local legend win this baby.
Yeah.
And again, I'll let you take it away, Scotty. Tell us what you know about how that finished up.
Yeah. So I know that they had weather that final day. It was kind of a mess.
I thought they did all 3 days, didn't you?
Day 1, they did not. Day 2, I played early and got out of there. And then I think they maybe had a little bit, but
Okay,
day
nothing
3
like
was,
day 3. Yeah.
day 3 was a mess. Kind of sit in place, come in. Anyways, got it all in one day. Awesome work by Tone and the team and Derek. And I thought Rush was in great shape. It always is. I mean, it gets so many rounds. You talk about public courses. I don't even know the number of rounds that they do, but it's in great shape for how many rounds that they have out there. It's crazy. So yeah, Carson Heron, Caleb Van Aragon, and Max Tilke tie at 10 under. I'm kind of watching it, scoreboard watching from my phone, and I'm like, I'm kind of pulling for Caleb because he's a ripped guy and, he's just a great kid. But they go in a playoff and I think, and Carson plays unbelievable, shoots 8 under. And obviously we know his dad has won a couple times out there, Tim. And yeah, so they go to the playoff. I think Max gets eliminated on the first hole, and then Carson wins it on the second hole against Caleb. Nice little consolation prize for Caleb, that 13-5 first place pro check.
Right,
Not too
right.
bad. But I mean, he was going for 2 in a row, state open, which I don't know the last time there was a back-to-back winner, Greg.
Yeah, you would know, Scotty. So it's obviously been a long time, but Carson Heron with 9 birdies on the last day, tore up the front 9 with a 31. Did have a bogey on 13, which if anybody who's played out there know that tee shot is probably the most agonizing one at Rush Creek because you've got marsh to the right all the way up the side. You can't really see where you're trying to hit it. The bunker on the left and the woods on the left kind of are screaming at you. If you hit it over there, you can't really have a shot at the green. So I always dread that tee shot. So for this kid to only have 1 bogey around that track and throw in 9 birdies, come from way back because he started the day at 2 under and shoot a final around 64. He's obviously got some of his dad's pedigree in him. Now his brother's a really good player as well, correct?
Yeah, I think his younger brother is still in high school, I believe.
I thought he played in this too because I thought I saw him. Let's see where he. I did not look this up ahead of time. Maybe he missed the cut. Maybe he didn't play. But anyways, so Carson is how old, Scott? You know?
Carson, so I played. So my last hole in one state open at Chaska would have been 3 or 4 years ago. I was playing with Carson Heron and Derek Hitchner. So hopefully both those guys make it someday, and that'd be a great story. But Carson was 18, then he's probably 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young guy. Well, congratulations to him on winning that. And you're right. Congratulations to Caleb. As the professional check. Looked like a nice purse, Scotty. Looks like we've done a pretty good job there of trying to pump that up. And I'm very proud of our section staff for what they've done there.
And, shout out Thomas Campbell, who has a big lead now in the Player of the Year points. Low section finisher at 8 under. Finishes birdie. That made him a lot of money. Also made him a lot of points. So
it basically doubled his paycheck, if not a little bit more.
Yep.
And obviously, I think he was going to get the most points almost no matter what. Bennett Smed was the next closest.
Yep.
Yeah, we need our section guys to play better in this, Scott.
Yeah, it just shows you. I mean, look at that list. It's just a ton of AMs and really good. I mean, there's some really good young mini tour players. I mean, Brady, Muzzy Donahue, Caleb. I mean, Ross Miller isn't young, but is a great mini tour. Like, there's just a ton of good golfers.
Yeah, Robert Bell from the Piers area. I don't know if you remember that name. Played for the Clippers. Good to see him back playing good there. Yeah, you're right, Scott. There's just some, and also there was Wes Butenbach, who's a good apprentice. Not eligible for the points, was up there. Andrew McCain, former winner of the state open.
Yes.
So again, you look through this top of this leaderboard and you go, yeah, some of us are really far away. And I think we got to make mention. And again, I don't know where this landed, but remember the streak, the Don Berry streak? Did that come to an end, Scott?
It did come to an end.
But again, I heard rumor, and again, I want to give Don his props, who just won the Minnesota Senior PGA yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
I just Don's record is just unmatched. I don't care what it's just not going to happen. What was it? 46 straight state open cuts.
Haley would know.
You know this, Scott.
It's right around that. It honestly is right around that. But you know what? Tiger's streak's gonna end at the Masters at some point. Like Oh, hey, DiMaggio 56 game hit streak, 42 straight cuts.
Scott, I don't bring it up to demean Don at all. I bring it up to admonish him and to, I mean, again, you're right. All good things come to an end. And I think Don was okay with it. Remember, was it a year ago that he was talking about not even playing at all? And
Yeah,
so
I
the
think he
fact that
still owes me $20 due to that
still,
bet at the White Bear Yacht Club.
I'll make sure you get that at Braemar this weekend, because you're right. He owes you for that.
So let's,
what a
Greg,
legend.
Yeah, I agree. Kaylee did say they had 4-hour rain delay on day 3, and they did have a delay on day 2. But yeah, 42 years straight cuts in the State Open. Greg, I've been alive 42 years.
Yeah, I know. You were an infant when Don was making cuts at the State Open. That's correct. I was 8. I didn't even know what golf was about.
Let's
let's
jump
move up
ahead to the Women's State Open.
Well, real quick before that, you mind? Can we hit the 3? I know the 3M qualifier was early. Yeah, let's do. You're right. The State Open, the Women's State Open at Edinburgh, again, another rain-soaked big mess that they had, but they figured it out. And congratulations to our staff. I'm sure that wasn't a perfect scenario for all of them, but you and I played in the Edinburgh Pro-Am, Scotty. We know how good of a track it is, and again, I think Paige Hillman. Do you know anything about Paige?
I do not. I mean, knew that she played well and 3 birdies on the back and shot 70. And hey, way to take advantage of your opportunity. You play great in the State Open. It's only 1 round, and shoot 70 and win the State Open. Nobody's ever going to take that away from you.
Right, and she beat some big names: Isabella McCauley, Catherine Van Aragon. I'm sorry I apologize to anybody who doesn't think that, but these are young gals that are playing very well. Didn't Catherine win it the year before?
Catherine won it the year before. Finished second in the state women's State Am at Minnewaska this summer. Plays at St. Thomas. I mean, Isabella played in the NCAA Division I National Championship. I mean, they're both great players.
So again, beating those, going head to head, I'll equate it this way. If I ever, boy, I'm using Don Barry a lot today, but he probably knows this. Whenever I beat Don Barry in a tournament, I kind of go home smiling. And it's happened probably 6 times in my career, Scott. And I've been in this for, has it been over 20 years now? Oh my goodness. When did I start?
Yeah, probably 20 years.
Maybe 25 years. Oh yeah, I was probably 24 years old when I started all this. Anyways, hey, I might be coming up on oh no, I didn't join Class 8 till 2008. Anyways, I hate to measure myself against those guys, but it's like, all right, Greg, see, you can play pretty good. And also, golf is such a tough sport that someday you just don't have it. And they'll tell you when I beat them, they didn't play their best. They know it. Jeff Sorensen, Don Barry, it's just part of the deal, right, Scotty? I'm sure you feel that way when I beat you, but which is very rare, by the way. We both know that. And again, I think that some people, you can take some pride in that golf is a sport where at any given day you might have it and that other person doesn't. Yeah. And I just think that these are good scenarios or good things that happen. And some people play good in wetter conditions. Some people don't. I have a guy that I take to a pro-am, Scott, that he says, no morning pro-ams. He goes, I can't do it. I'm like, what? And he goes, I can't play in the dew. I don't hit it well enough, and I don't chip very well. So I like to use like flat face clubs around the green, and in the dew, that doesn't work, Scotty.
Yeah.
And so he just doesn't want to play in those. I'm like, that's interesting. So there are different scenarios. Congratulations to Jennifer Huber. Kaylee was telling me she's a teaching pro over at Hazeltine. She was the low professional at 3. And then Haley Tillett, Scotty, second place low pro. Good for her, shooting a 77.
Yeah, another event. Just the weather this summer. This has been a summer with weather. Everybody that's got a golf course has had to deal with it in the state of Minnesota. So,
well, you remember the year Don Barry won the section championship with just 1 round, and he didn't feel very good about it. And he even said that in his acceptance speech of this doesn't feel right. I'm sure maybe the gals felt this way, but guess what? Somebody has to win.
Yeah.
and you take it as it is. Shoot, if the Grandview Pro-Am was one day, I would have had a pretty good start to the year, but it wasn't. It was a 2-day. So again, it is what it is when you play and when you tee it up, and conditions are what they are. And kudos to Tone and the staff for getting through what they could, because it was a mess, Scotty. I remember those days. It was not pretty even around here. We had to cancel our chamber event, which is I shouldn't say cancel, postpone, which is a mess for us here when you have to move a 144 player tournament to another day. That's just no fun.
Did you want to talk about that Grandview challenge where you had the lead on me? And
no, I don't, Scott, if you wouldn't mind. Let's move on. Scott, did you make it to the 3M?
I did. I took the kids out on Thursday, watched Ben Warrion make birdie on the 9th hole, his last, after he had it 5 deep through the front 9. And he missed the cut by 1, but great showing by Ben, who's had a phenomenal summer. Just missed the round of 64 match play by 1 at Hazeltine, the USAM. And Jeff, I did not get to see Jeff. I wasn't out there when Jeff was, so I didn't get to see him play. But hey, it seems like we always get a decent amount of fans out there for any golf tournament in the state. So I think the 3M is still going strong. Obviously, the field isn't what we hope it would be, but this year, I mean, with the Olympics and the Open Championship, it was just kind of wedged in there.
Yeah, it definitely was a wedge feel. And unfortunately, I think the 3M is always kind of had that stigma of where it is in the schedule, and it just is what it is, and you're going to only get what you can get. I didn't see anybody join late, Scott, that needed FedEx points. Did you?
No.
Because I remember they picked up Justin Thomas a year ago.
Yes.
Somebody else, I don't remember who it was, that just said, well, I got to get in. I need the points. I got to go chase it, which is a huge boost to a field when you can add a top 10 player in the world.
For sure.
I don't even know where Justin Thomas is, but when you can add that, and obviously, as you know, with the lesser talent on the PGA now, which by the way is still crazy good talent, just because of what Liv has taken away, you're just not going to have those things, happen as rampantly as we had in the past. So it's unfortunate, but I do want to give 3M and everybody who runs that their props of they still seem to run a phenomenal tournament. It goes very well. The players seem to love it who do attend. And I think our section, I think Tone was, you were a starter one year. Was Tone a starter again this year?
Tone was a starter again this year. The last name I announced at the 3M, out of Rancho Santa Fe, Colin Morikawa. So I think I'm going to end on that.
Yeah, they didn't ask you back because who did you mess up? Was it Garrigus?
No.
Somebody, you messed up somebody. Tell us again.
Scott Piercy.
Yeah.
I called it Scott Percy.
Yeah, and I don't think he's been seen since on the PGA Tour. So maybe
no, he was seen 2 years later at the 3M leading it, and then he lost it down the stretch. He's probably thinking, all these people think my last name's Percy.
All right, we got to keep moving because we had a lot happen this last couple of weeks that I really want to hit at, including the Pro Junior, where the McDonald family had a beautiful showing at the Lafayette Club. But let's first hit the USAM, huge event, obviously, deep history. Many know. If you're not sure what happens in that event, they have a stroke play, 36 holes. I believe it was 18 at Chaska, 18 at Hazeltine. Is that correct, Scott?
Yep.
And then you got to try to make it. I believe it's 316 competitors make that field. Am
312.
Okay, it was close. I had heard 3 and change. I couldn't remember exactly. And then it pairs down to the final 64, Scott. Any surprises that you heard of that did not make the field of 64?
It's crazy. We did some things. We were fortunate enough. We gave a ripstick to every participant in the field.
All 312 or all
yes,
64?
All 312.
Hey, kudos to you guys and Luke Benoit and what you're doing out there.
Yeah, so it was really cool. We partnered with Phil and they were great. And so I talked to USGA official or one of the team members at Hazeltine, and they put it great. For 80% of the field, Greg, this is the highlight of their golf career, playing in a US amateur. There's 60 that might play professionally. There's 10 or 15 that might play on the PGA Tour, but for 250 roughly, this is their highlight. So to help support the event, it's in Minnesota. We're a Minnesota-based company. It was really cool to do. But yeah, I think maybe Luke Clanton has had a phenomenal summer on the PGA Tour, and I think he made match play, but he got bounced in the round of 32. So that was maybe a surprise, but also, I mean, the kid's been playing full time all summer. So I think everybody would have liked to see him go a little bit further. I think everybody would have liked to see Ben Warrion in match play. Gunnar Broyne, who did make the cut at the US Open.
Gunnar, yes. I remember you mentioned
and caddies out there. He got through the old I think it was like 16 guys, Greg, for 11 spots playoff. 16 guys.
How do they do that, Scott? Do you know? Is it 4 foursomes?
I don't know.
Do they play 2 eights?
I don't know how they do it, but they went down number 10. Birdies and pars got through. Bogeys, or I think double was eliminated, and I think bogeys went to 17 then. Gunnar birdies 17 and advances. So yeah, crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think big surprise. Noah Kent, who finished second, made it all the way. It was kind of, he's like 500 in the world. Nobody plays at Iowa, obviously college player, but nobody saw that run coming to the finals. And you know what, Greg? You know where he's going to be next April? He'll be teeing it up at the Masters because the runner-up in the USAM gets in.
That's right.
So that's what's so cool. All these Jose, who won it, I mean, he's in the he's exempt in the US Open Championship, and the Masters.
Arizona State?
Yes.
Is that right?
And I think he was...
Is he from Spain?
From Spain. First Spaniard ever to make the finals. How crazy is that with how many good Spanish-born...
That dude looks so calm and collected. I don't even know. And I know whenever they show the leaderboard guys, but did he ever look rattled to you?
I walked all 18, the last 18. Me and the family went out. And it was big time pro Noah crowd because of the Iowa. And
sure.
there was 100 Caitlin Clark jerseys out there, Greg.
Okay.
And so every time Noah did anything, there was a ton of cheers. I was kind of Jose because we got there right after Charlie did the drive, chip, and putt. We saw them finish on 18 after the morning. And Jose stopped and signed autographs and autographed Charlie's hat. So that was pretty cool.
That's how you gain a fan right there.
Exactly. Yep. So, but Jose's up 4 with 6 to go, Greg.
Yep.
And I go to Julie. I'm like, let's get behind 14 here. This thing's over. Noah wins the next 2 holes, ties on 15, wins 16. He's 1 down with 2 to go. So we bounce over to 17, and it went all the way to 18.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and that's a 36 hole. In case those who don't know,
that's a long day walking, Greg.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, Scott, and I'm going to need you to dig deep into your head here and maybe come up with an explanation. Do you remember the name Buddy Marucci?
Oh, yeah.
His last name. There doesn't seem to be any Buddy Marucci's anymore, Scott.
There was.
Was there? Okay. I didn't see any, or I didn't hear any of those cool stories. 45-year-old guy works at a hardware store, wasn't sure if he could get off to go play in this. loves golf. Oh, all of a sudden he's in the match play. I just made up that whole scenario, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
Who was that story this year then? Was there
Okay.
one?
So let's just get this straight. Buddy Marucci wasn't working at a hardware store. He was
I
like a
didn't,
lifelong
but
am.
you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Where the guy, because you hear this, oh man, who was I can't remember what some of the names, but this happens, Scott, where these guys are insurance salesmen. They have 9 to 5 jobs and they want to go try to play in the mid am or the US am or something, and they do it. That's
Here it
unreal.
is. Here it is. 36-year-old mid-am Christian Brand. He won the West Virginia Am by 21 shots. His Instagram bio, Greg, is I used to be good at golf and I used to have a sick mullet.
Okay. So he was, I guess what I'm getting at too is it seems like this is a big college tournament now.
It's become that. There's let's be honest. I think the last time that someone like a Buddy Marucci, who you're talking about, won it is our very own John Harris back in like 1995. And John was an am up until when he was 50. He was probably 45 at the time when he won it. So that might be the last one that's kind of, done it. But now it's Greg, Sam Udovich, who's a senior at Cretin-Durham Hall's in the field. He was 17 years old. So the field age is definitely getting on the younger side.
Do you think that was because of that golf has gotten cooler, or are these kids becoming more specialized? Like they don't play basketball and baseball. This is all we do. What are some of your reasoning, Scott, for why this has turned to such a younger, more accomplished, if you will, field?
I think that the level of competition ramps up sooner at a younger age than it did when you and I were growing up, or even when your kids were, 10, 15 years ago. Like it's changed. There was no drive, chip, and putt back then. There was no look at our junior tour for the section. Look at the AJGA, like all of that stuff. It's just like all blown up. And I mean, kids are like the amount of think about this, Greg. When you and I were growing up, how many juniors took private lessons from instructors?
Good point. Yeah.
Very few, right?
Good point.
We do the junior golf and that was it. Now, I mean, my buddies, my business partner, Luke and Brent and Chili and Riggy and all these great instructors, they have a stable of 50 kids, if not more, that could kick our butt on the golf course. And they're not even 18.
That's why I can't wait for our next topic, Scotty, because again, I don't got to play against the 18-year-olds no more. But we'll get to that in a second. I do want to ask you real quick about by the way, congratulations to Phil and the team out there, the Brants. I mean, everybody that did all that work you can see the shout out on the TV. They now highlight the PGA Pro, the general manager, the superintendents, all those things is pretty cool.
Yep.
The course looked phenomenal on TV, which again, a lot of golf courses are right now. Scotty, I'm sure you had fun out there, and I know Kaylee did. She was out there pretty much all week. She had mentioned it to us. So kudos to all of them. I don't know if you want any final thoughts on that.
No, I was fortunate enough to play Hazeltine the end of July. It was great condition, good as I've seen it. Golf course was perfect. They had one little weather delay, but Greg, this is 10 days. They have 2 days of practice rounds, 2 days of qualifying, and then matches. To have no weather really in 10 days is phenomenal. Phil and the team did great. Yeah, I thought it was a great event. I thought there was a ton of spectators out there. It was awesome to see.
Well, good stuff. We did get from Kaylee that it was 42 straight cuts for Don. So
yeah,
as exact same. You were in your mother's womb, who I met at Perkins on Sunday.
Yeah.
They're like, Greg Snow. And I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, Scott McDonald's parents. And I was like, oh my goodness, because they dropped off all that stuff last year. I should have known them. It was fun chat with them. Anyways,
I heard the service was a little slow.
we had to take our stuff to go, Scott, and not eat our breakfast till after church. Hey, it's the world we're in right now.
Yep.
Everybody's
Yep.
short some employees, and then good employees are also not the easiest to find. I
Yep.
don't want to bash Perkins here on this podcast at all.
You love your tremendous 12. We know that.
I can't even remember what I got. But anyways, Scotty, you played in the Pro Junior with your children again. I think this is the second year.
Mm-hmm.
Had a nice run of 3 birdies in there. What tell me about your round a little bit real quick, and tell me about the Pro Junior. I see some bogeys. You probably weren't happy with the kids on that. Did you bark at them at all, or did you just take it in stride?
No, yeah, it's kind of our highlight. We went on family vacation. We went to the UP of Michigan. So we were gone for 5 days, came back. Charlie had drive, chip, and putt. We went to USAM, and then we had Pro Junior. So the kids we were all just like, I just want to get home, but we loved it. We had a great time. Dad was kind of a sled, be honest. Clubs were out for about a week, which was great. And
you didn't play up in the UP at all?
Nope.
You had a chance to play Gogebic Country Club and you didn't go?
No. Family vacation. We played mini golf twice.
But that's where Jack Warrow grew up.
I know, but
you couldn't say, kids, we're going to play Gogebic today.
No. We went hiking instead and had fun. So, yeah, I missed a couple of greens on the par trees. We didn't get them up and down. And then made the turn on 2, and I said, hey, we're going to birdie the next 3 here. Let's go. So we go birdie, and
2, you drove it on the green?
No, I hit the trees and we hit it to 3 feet, and then 2, I was short and we pitched it up, and then 4 though.
Up the hill.
I had a little cut forward up there to about 6 feet, and I told the kids, hey, here we go.
Should have made eagle.
Little slider. We had wipe, and make birdie. Should have made eagle there. And then the next hole, that par 3, I had a pretty good shot in there. And Amelia hit just this great putt. Like one of those putts you hold your breath because it's so good. And it just misses on the high side. So we made par. And then Charlie makes a 20-foot slider on the last hole for par and gives a little fist pump. And it was great. But
good for you.
Lost to my business partner by 2, who played with his 2 sons, Leo and Gus. And then Tommy Kohler, our host professional for the section championship, took it down in the under 12 division. So thanks for hosting, Jay. It's just a great event.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys support that, and we need more participation there. Know the calendar's full with a lot, but if people can put that on for next year, there's a category for you to bring some kids even from your club that could really boost to that event. Okay, we got one event left to talk about. We only got a couple minutes. We have to hit it though, Scotty. Go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out to our boy Don Barry for winning the section senior PGA. Again, weather had to move it to Oak Ridge.
Yes.
But pretty cool.
Oak Marsh.
Oh, yeah, Oak Marsh. Sorry, Steve Willock. I'm sorry.
Who was in the hunt?
Yeah, Steve he was. Willock.
Yeah.
So, but due to Don Barry's play at the senior PGA, he was already exempt. So Eric Childs, Dale Jones, Bill Israelson, Dan Callahan, and your favorite,
Sudanga,
Jason Sudanga.
No, how do you say it? Say it like we do it.
Sudanga.
So Jason, I cannot wait to see him at Braemar so we can give him a little hug and a high five. We love Jason.
Yeah, no. So that was great. Donnie birdie's the last hole to win it. So I'm sure that cut streaks stings, but I'm sure this one feels pretty good.
Yeah, he's got other things to play in and be very good about. So I got one quick question before we got to go. So somebody asked me the other day, they said, is Chili really a senior? Meaning just doesn't look like it, right?
Yep.
So let's put Chili to the side for a second. And I got a straight up honest question. Will there be a younger looking 50-year-old than me when I join next year, Scott? Ever? I mean, look at this. Do you think they're going to say, who let this 40-year-old out here? Scott, look. I mean,
Do I have to take into account the women's glasses you're wearing?
I
right.
think people are going to say, wow, is that guy even old enough to be out here?
Yeah.
Or do you think
Braemar, let's go.
Braemar Championship? We're going to be there this weekend. Can't wait. Kaylee, thanks for all you do for us. Scotty, any final words before we sign off?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody at Braemar. I apologize that Greg and I have been two recluses that can't schedule a podcast.
Negligence.
Yeah, negligence. Won't happen again. You can hold us to that. But yeah, excited to see everyone and hope the summer's going well.
All right. Yes. That's Scott McDonald. I'm Greg Snow for Kaylee Ekstrom. Thank you all for joining us. Major apologies. It will not happen again. We'll be back on the show sometime early in September, and we'll see you all at Braemar. Have a great one, everybody.